Have you ever wondered about government? We're seeing around the world, especially in America, where the Donald Trump administration is looking to remove a whole layer of civil servants and consultants that are being paid at the taxpayer's expense, to say that either what they're doing is unnecessary regulation, unnecessary government, or it could be done privately and people pay as you go for those particular services. This could catch on around the world. You've got Argentina, President Xavier cutting taxes radically as well, and getting his new agenda on the way. How could that work in the EU? When you consider the EU, you have a consistent election in Britain for Brexit over the last 10 years, and yet we have a political elite now which is leaning towards taking the UK back into the EU and getting close alignment to that. And what for? So in USA, we have a government that's thinning down its current bureaucracy. They have a federal government and they have a state level of government, and they're thinning that down at every level. Think about what the EU does. The EU is effectively a regulatory nightmare, creating all sorts of standards and regulations and tariff barriers within the EU, and to be battered on by Trump at the moment. This is his issue: is that it's supposed to be a free trade zone, but it's also a self-protection zone for people within the EU. But the issue is that EU creates this whole level of government and regulation, which is in addition to the government. So, in the UK, for example, you have national government, county councils, and local councils or metropolitan boroughs. So you've got at least three levels of government, maybe even a parish council as well. So you've got those layers of government there, which is enough. And you put the EU, it's another layer of government on top. Now the EU is funded by VAT. The UK is still charged VAT, even though they're not in the EU. They keep that extra tax to themselves now because they're not paying for the EU anymore. But in the EU, the VAT tax goes to the EU. And what does that pay for? Well, there's over 10,000 EU bureaucrats earning more than £100,000 a year. Think about that. An extra layer of regulatory government, which is not necessarily needed if Belgium can govern itself, if France can govern itself, if Germany has a prime minister, a chancellor, and a parliament, and regional states. It doesn't necessarily need the EU, but the EU has come about because of history. It's got 10,000 people earning over £100,000. Okay, now all those people earning £100,000 not only have got their EU jobs that they're being paid for, but they're also getting their pension benefits as well, and they get a special tax status because if you work for the EU, that's your tax regulatory authority, and you don't pay tax. So 100,000 tax free, good salary to have if you can get it, and then you get your pension on top of that. So that those 10,000, 100,000 a year bureaucrats, that's about £10 million, by the way, are then going to get a 60,000 pension until they die, tax free. So it's an expensive luxury that's been built up, and is it an unnecessary level of government? Now, if you were Donald Trump and Elon Musk, which level of government you would get rid of? I suggest you get rid of the EU. Yes, you could have an EU council, an EU council of ministers, but do you need all the regulation when it could actually be done in the individual states? And do you need all that extra bureaucracy and rulings? And do you need all the extra tax? Before the EU, there was no VAT, there was no 20% tax. So tax creep from extra regulation, extra government services, and extra freebie benefits to people to regulate you, to tell you what size fits, what type of chicken to eat, what type of road to drive on, and what colour your shoes should be today. What is the point of the EU? This is my question. What is the point of over-regulation, which only gives a political elite an excuse to tax more from people that are earning the income, making the investments, and then dying to tax their income, their capital, and their estate on death? It needs to stop. It needs to go back to reasonable levels, so we can protect the community, service the community without it being exploited. That's my view. I would be quite happy to have 100,000 salary tax free, but I don't see the point of EU bureaucrats. What do you think? Let us know. You can join us and comment on our YouTube channels or Facebook groups for expats living and working abroad. But if you need help on relocation overseas or tax and business overseas, contact us at proactpartnership.com.